Hi, guys. Welcome to Para Women Radio. I'm Amy. Tonight, prepare yourselves for the ultimate clash of worlds as the Gypverse collides with Watts Island. Who would have thought that these two true crime cases would ever come together? But here we are, folks. It has been rumored that Chris Watts' sister, Jamie Watts Williams, is apparently BFFs with Gypsy Rose's stepmother, Christy. Or at the very least, they seem to be crossing paths on some live panels. We will delve into this juicy possibility and also explore the dynamic between Chris Watts and his big sis Jamie Watts, as well as the relationship between Gypsy Rose Blanchard and her stepmother Kristy Blanchard. So buckle up because things are about to get wild on this episode of Para Women Radio. I'm going to roll some credits. Special shout out to my replay crew and my dragonflies. Did y'all ever think that these two cases would collide like this? I didn't.
Cavalier strumming his old guitar again. Words rolling out into our fire. If heaven had wings, I would steal them and fly away with you for a while. Hearing the essence of gratitude, your dreamy little smile on my lips. I miss my cue, but baby, I had you. Miss my cue, but I had you for that day. Here in the blue, I'm falling deep into you.
Here in the blue, I'm just so happy to be back with you on this Wednesday evening. Yes, we are going to be talking about Jamie Watts, Chris Watts' sister. And apparently she has appeared on some panels with Gypsy Rose's stepmother, Kristy Blanchard. So we will be getting into that tonight. And then we're going to go into the relationship between Chris Watts and his sister. We're going to focus on that. And then we're going to lightly focus on the relationship between Gypsy and Kristy towards the end. So that's what I've got on tap for you guys tonight. Yes, really. Hello, Laura Lynn. How are you? Thank you for being here. Laura Lynn is our lady in blue. So if you have any questions, she is my moderator. And if you feel like it, you could even throw some blue hearts up for her to show her some love. I know that I appreciate her so much. Hi, Jody. And I hope that, Denise, you decide to stick around. If not, totally understand. All right, so tonight we're coming to you on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Hi, everyone. So if you could just start that algorithm dance party that I like to do, just start warming up your fingers and dancing them right up to the hearts and thumbs up button. Helps me go out into the algorithm, party out there, bring more people back to the party. It's just a free way to help a little small content creator out, and every little help helps. Trust me, it helps. Oh, good, you're staying. Yay. And you know what? I rarely talk about Jamie Watts. In fact, I don't think I've really talked about her too much, except for like saying in passing that maybe I didn't like her and I didn't trust her. But I think that was more in the days when I was a little more angry towards the Watts family. Now I'm just kind of like, people are just trying to survive. I can't imagine having my son do such a thing, kind of deal. Like, I hope that when people know better, they do better kind of deal. So I'm really not that displeased with Jamie the way I used to be. And really, did I even have a right to be that way? I don't know. But we're going to take a look at Jamie tonight and see what she's been up to. This content creator sent me down this rabbit hole. So what we do is we're going to look at a lot of things tonight. And I will show portions of it or read portions of it. I'll stop it. I'll start it. I'll talk over it. But what I'll do is I'll put everything that we view down in the YouTube show notes. And if you want to follow the link and watch it in its entirety or read it in its entirety, that's where you can find it, in my YouTube show notes. And I do that for each live that we do. And each video too. So, okay. So this is a great content creator. She's one of the newer ones that I've found. Her name is Morgan Alina. And she had this video out this week that says Gypsy Rose follows Amanda Knox and stepmom Christy chats with Chris Watts fam, ? Now, I tried to find this live that she talks about, and I couldn't find it. I put down in the comments, I asked her if, she had the link for it. I put it in my my YouTube community page to see if anybody else had it by chance, and I was unable to find it. So we're going to watch bits and pieces of her video. And then we're going to go from there. We're going to go over to Reddit. And I've got some, news reports, some TikToks. I got a lot for you tonight. So, okay. So, I urge you, we're not going to watch her whole video, but she talks in the beginning about Gypsy Rose, apparently is now following Amanda Knox. So you know who Amanda Knox is. If you don't know who Amanda Knox is, she's the girl that went to Italy as an exchange student, and her roommate was brutally murdered. And her Italian boyfriend were charged with it. And they were found guilty, and then they ultimately, she's back in America, was released. Some people, but it's a very divided case. Some people really believe she did it. Some people really believe she didn't do it. I don't think she did it, but at any rate, now Gypsy Rose is following Amanda Knox, and she was pointing out, is she following Amanda Knox because Gypsy Rose has this feeling that she's not guilty? Like, she doesn't believe that she is a murderer, even though she plotted and planned and hired, but through sex and whatever, a disabled man to do it. She doesn't believe that she is a murderer. And so is now Gypsy Rose glomming on to people that don't believe that they're murderers. And in a sense, the Watts family, in the very beginning, when Cindy and Jamie and Ronnie came out, they were very like, oh, we love you, we support you. Basically, Shanann was a biatch. How did you even not unalive her before now? That's kind of how the feeling I got. And I know a lot of you got, and it didn't sit well at all in anybody's stomach. So now it's been reported that Gypsy Rose's stepmother, Christy, has been sitting on panels with Jamie Watts. And is it because they are Jamie Watts, kind of when they were saying that Chris didn't do it and fight, do they believe that Chris Watts is innocent? And now are they going towards Watts Island because of that? What do you guys think? Let me see what you guys are saying in chat, and then we'll go into this video. It's pretty outrageous. I'm pretty ugh about the whole thing. Jamie Watts wanted to stay out of it all. Wow. Just wow. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad you're staying. Hi, hi, Maribel, coming out of the shadows. Yay. Hi, Phaedra. It's good to see you. Hi, F. Lee. She's Delulu. Cindy did an interview in 24. They still think he's innocent. Yes. She did do an interview over on Rumble. We have covered some of the Watts stuff, but when we do, we have to be very careful because, we shouldn't have to live in a life where you have other people that will send other people towards you to try to tear down your channel, but you have to dance around things. And this, this is a double whammy because the Watts case is a whammy, and now the Gypsy Rose case is turned into a whammy. So we got a double whammy we're talking about tonight. But I think it's important to stick to what's going on in the case and what the people surrounding the case are doing, not so much the creators in the case. So let's talk about these two worlds fighting.
It was just the edit. No, you literally admitted to attempting to murder to do it at the first jump. It took years of manipulation, even after she tried to kill her own mother, self-admitting attempted murder with the BB gun. According to her, she didn't know it was a BB gun. Was like, oh, thank God.
Okay, she's still talking about Gypsy Rose not identifying as being a schmurderer.
And that's why she was so hung up on making sure that Nick was the one to do the act and hanging up on that, because she seriously thought that if she was not the one that actually started it, then she would be 100% free, not knowing that her words.
It's not queued up right. I'm sorry, you guys.
Convicted people, legally anyway, instead of, victims like the Menendez brothers who are still locked up in prison while she's out twerking on the internet, doing whatever she wants to do. It shows you where she views herself when you draw the line. She's on the side of people that were mistreated. She views herself as wrongfully convicted. She doesn't believe that she deserved the punishment that she got when she very easily could have got the death penalty. And she fails to acknowledge that.
She could have very easily gotten the death penalty.
Even with the whole...
Chris Watts could have very easily gotten the death penalty, although he would be off death row because Colorado has evicted, or is that what it's called when you get rid of the death penalty? Is it evicted? I don't think, that doesn't sound right to me.
Writing to Donald Trump, saying that he wanted a pardon for Gypsy and for Gypsy to get mental health treatment, when knowing that she literally turned it down in prison, because we all know that they're all offered that. That's a fact. And then Kristy Blanchard, Gypsy's stepmother, is going onto podcasts and having, discussions. But I'm not totally against this. Obviously the family members of Chris Watts are not implicated in what he did. If you know about Chris Watts,
yeah, that's the thing. The family members aren't implicated. But when you go on the lives and you talk about it, then you open yourself up to it being spoken about, and so it becomes fair game. Thank you so much for gifting the Parawomen Radio Dragonfly memberships. The Dragonfly is the membership program over on YouTube. We're going to talk about that a little bit later. Thank you so much, Laurelyn. Yeah, she's really great. I really have liked her channel quite a bit. And another channel that I've been liking a lot is, I don't know if I'm going to say it right, but it's Lady Flo or something like that, or Lady Flo or something. I've been liking her quite a bit too.
He ultimately had a side girlfriend and then ended up murdering his pregnant wife and his 2 daughters and throwing them in like these big oil drums. Granted, while the babies were still alive, he put those little babies in there, and he still won't acknowledge what he did. He wants to blame literally everybody but himself still to this day. And their family is very similar to how Gypsy Rose Blanchard's family is, failing to acknowledge that what they did was insanely it's not even, you can't even excuse any part of it. You can try to understand it a little bit, but you can't, especially Chris. Of all people, I would never want anything to do with somebody that can murder babies.
It would
Like,
be so shameful to me that a family member of mine would do that to another family member. But, and if they were going to be in prison for life, I would probably still maintain contact with them, but I wouldn't be like boastful about it. And I would be very undercover and very like, this is only because you are my blood, or you know, I don't know, would you guys be able to? And it would, if it was like a cousin or somebody like removed, no, I don't think so, but I think a close family member, probably. Would you guys be able to maintain contact with a family member that unalived someone? I mean, or even attacked someone, would you, or harmed someone and physically, would you be able to maintain a relationship?
like living children, your own child, in that way because of what, you didn't want to be married anymore. That's a different type of evil, in my opinion, to just sit there and kill and strangle your own children. But I
That's
can
a
understand.
face-to-face evil. That's not even like getting your disabled boyfriend to do it. That's a face-to-face, like eye to eye. Although he put the, if it went by what he said happened, he put the blankets over the kid's face. But I mean, still.
Understand maybe wanting, not knowing where to fit as a family member. I can maybe understand that, but still, to be aligning yourself, knowing that Gypsy Rose doesn't even view herself as a murderer either, same as how Chris Watts refuses to take or acknowledge any part that what he did was wrong and blames his wife for her own death, similar to how Gypsy blames her own mother for their death. You know, I feel like at least that's where the Menendez brothers are different, is they acknowledge that what they did was wrong and they had another way out, and there's no excusing that. Even after all the stuff that they went through, with proof, there's doctor's notes and testimony that was blocked from their case, they still acknowledge that there is no excuse for what they did. They know that. They feel extreme guilt, especially because they did love their parents in spite of what they actively did to them. They don't want that to be forgotten. They don't want to erase that. They don't want to pretend like they never did it or what they did was 100% right. And I think that's a huge difference in the way that you acknowledge what you've done when you're moving forward. But to sit there and pretend like you've done nothing wrong and that you don't deserve the punishment that you are receiving is incredibly disturbing to me. And those are not the people that we should be letting out. The ones that fail to acknowledge what happened and what they did or whatever.
Here's the thing with Gypsy. She's tried to say all the right things in the beginning, right? She said all like, yes, I did it. I'm guilty. I shouldn't have done it. I should have made better choices. But as time has gone on, her true feelings have come out.
You should have to honestly like pass so many tests to be released from prison whenever you commit an act like this. Honestly, I'm all for that, psychological evaluations, whatever. And if you're determined to be like a sociopath or a psychopath, you're not safe for society, period. And everybody knows my stance. I view Gypsy as a sociopath. And this live panel that Christy was on, I believe she was on the panel called Uncorked with Brandy. I'm not overly familiar.
So I have looked over at Uncorked with Brandy, and I do not see this panel. So she's going to talk about it lightly for a little bit. If any of you happen to come across this live panel, I would really love to have it. And you could email it to me at parawomenradio@gmail.com, or you could even link me over in my community section. I've got a post up there asking for it. You can just link me there too.
With this creator or what the thing was with this entire thing. I didn't actually get to watch it myself, but you know, it was posted on the Reddit group about Gypsy and saying that, you know, they are essentially associating with one another, and people that are familiar with Chris Watts or his case and what he did, his family have been very supportive. And I did see where somebody had commented in there that, you know, Chris Watts' sister especially has been one to victim blame Shanann Watts, Chris Watts' wife that he ultimately ended up killing when she was pregnant, basically saying that, you know, Shanann was controlling and she deserved it. Same as what Chris Watts personally says about the whole situation. He does not acknowledge or take any sort of responsibility for the crime or the role that he played in literally ending the lives of so many innocent people. And I feel like that's
really doesn't. He says things like, if I hadn't met Nicole, this wouldn't have happened. If I had only went to the football game instead of the bar or whatever he did that night with NK. You know, if Shanann hadn't gone to North Carolina for the summer, it was always like, if, you know, if my world were perfect, I wouldn't have unalived my wife.
Exactly what Gypsy Rose does. And I feel like, yeah, it could make sense for Kristy to want to reach out to be a part of or get some support, whatever, from people who have family members that murder people.
She's making a good point there. I mean, people that have family members that unalived people should need support. They've got to need support, right? Because that has got to be a horrible thing. I've been watching the Gabby Petito American Murder story today, and I was thinking about how awful the laundries are, and the things that they did. Why is it that oftentimes family members of murderers like become public enemy number one too? Like they just behave badly. Is it because they're trying to defend their loved ones? They just have this sense of, I'm gonna back you up no matter what, you know, like I'm gonna jump off the cliff with you because that's, you know, how we roll. Is that why you think it is? But I do think they need support 100%. But I mean, the laundries, I don't know. The laundries need to be in prison, but yeah.
But that should be done privately and not on an open panel, because why would you associate yourself with that even more? Especially in a case as horrible as that. That is a horrible, horrible, horrible case to even want to associate.
Hold on. What are you saying? If I can remember who played that live with Christy, I'll let you know. But as far as the actual live, from what I know, can't watch the OG of it. Yeah, I can't find it anywhere. I just can't find it. But even if you guys see like bits and pieces of it anywhere, I think I see 1980 Millennial in there. I think I see her photo up there, but I just, Uncorked with Brandy has hardly any videos out there. So did she get taken down? I mean, I try to stay out of drama, like creator drama. So I really had never heard of Uncorked with Brandy, but she really doesn't have a lot of videos out there. So I don't know.
Associate yourself with whatsoever to be getting advice from the people that defend a man who can literally take the life out of little tiny children. It's absurd to me. And I feel like this behavior by the Blanchards and by Gypsy herself is what really needs to be the focus, and not so much the daily nonsense or whatever, this or that, the other creator drama. None of that really matters when it comes to discussing this and establishing patterns about Gypsy Rose Blanchard and what she's done in the past and how it aligns with what she still does to this day, and how she views herself truly as a wrongfully convicted victim.
I wonder if 1980 if she recorded it, like any of it, like just even a snippet. I would just like to hear what these two are saying to each other. You know what I mean? Like, what are they saying? Are they like friendly? Like, hey girl, hi girl? Because they're probably, well, I think Chris's sister's somewhere in her 40s, and I think Christy's somewhere in her late 40s, early 50s. So it seems like they would get along.
And establishing, this is a lie. She said this here and she lied about it over here. That matters.
Okay. So this is all that I have. She doesn't really, I love 1982. I love 1980, Trixie. All of these new creators that are coming up are really good. And I appreciate them. So that's really all that we get on that. So I thought, well, I've never really looked into who is Chris Watts' sister, you know? So I thought we would go into who is Jamie Watts, and what was their relationship like. He Chris Watts and Jamie. And then we'll move over and look at Gypsy Rose and Christy and look at who are they and what is their relationship like. I'm not going to lie, I've got more on Chris's sister than I do on the relationship between Gypsy and Christy. So her name is Jamie Williams. And this is over on Reddit, and this was 6 years ago when we're going to look at from 6 years to just a few months ago. I've got like a bunch of Reddit pages I want to look at. This person was saying, I wish the sister would talk. Maybe she can get some insight as to why her brother is a lunatic and as to why he wouldn't just divorce her and screw his tramp on the side and move on. It would be nice if she would say something or just anything. I guess mommy told her not to. Also, if I were Ronnie and Cindy Watts, I would absolutely apologize to Shanann's family for creating the monster who annihilated their child and grandchildren. If Cindy Watts wasn't a cold witch, she would do it publicly. She will never do this because I guarantee she hasn't shed one tear. Oh, I don't agree with that. I think she cried for her grandbabies. She cried more for her son, but she has cried for her grandbabies. She saw them as Shanann's children, just like Chris did at the end. I don't agree with that. Do you guys think that the Wattses shed tears for the girls? I mean, I don't think they're heartless people. I think that they definitely loved the girls. So I saw over here, AD interviews prison friend of Chris Watts, joined by Chris's sister, Jamie, in chat. So AD, I think, is Armchair Detective, who is a creator in the over on Watts Island that actually had his channel deplatformed because of his coverage of the case. That's why I say when I did the fancy in Gypsy Rose that it does happen. There's been quite a few content creators that have been deplatformed over the Gypsy Rose case, and that means they've lost their AdSense, their YouTube channel, and their Google AdSense. They can never make money off of any channel on YouTube ever again. And I don't think that it's up because his channel's been taken down. Yeah. But it says the video is an interview with a woman named Shannon who got to know Chris by jail correspondence and phone calls along with his family. She has become close with Chris's sister, Jamie, who joined the interview in chat. This was part one of what will be 2 interviews with her. I think the second one will be put on YouTube tonight. So here were some of the key takeaways. After Chris's confession, Chris's parents didn't see him, hear from him, or his attorney until they got the phone call about his plea deal almost 3 months later, at which point they went to see him in Colorado. When they went to visit him, they were not allowed to bring up plea deal or they would shut down the visit. The Watts' family relationship with Shanann was not all bad. They miss her, and there were good times between them. Before she died, Shanann helped to plan a 60th birthday party for Cindy with Chris's sister. Jamie is a respiratory therapist working with COVID patients right now. Wow, that's really honorable. Shannon knows Sherilyn Cadle. Shannon, not Shanann. Shannon knows Sherilyn Cadle and did not like her initially. Sherilyn Cadle is the author that rushed to put the book out that had some interviews with Chris that ultimately the book was removed from the shelves because of plagiarism. So take that with what you will. They eventually got to know each other better, and Shannon got her marketing advice for her book. She says that Chris told her that many things Sherilyn wrote that he said he actually didn't say. The written account that was published in the Daily Mail is authentic, though. one big lie from Sherilyn. Chris never told her that he had phone sex with NK in the 111-minute phone call of the night of the murders. Oh, I didn't know that he told Sherilyn that they had phone schmecks. Did any of you guys know that? I didn't know that. Chris still doesn't remember what the 111-minute phone call was about, but Shannon has written him with the exact times of the phone call and says he's working on remembering for her. Whatever. She believes Chris's memories of what actually happened that night are clouded by trauma or some sort of mental break, and that we do not yet know the truth of what happened. She thinks that they're starting to emerge from Chris now. She says Chris is a people pleaser. Anyway, as an example, he was told the February 2019 CBI interview was to be for the Ruchek family to have the truth of what happened, not including the general public. And he said he made up a version of what happened that would be the best for the Rucheks. Chris's family wants the truth to come out because they believe what he said so far hasn't added up, and there are no signs of this coming. She says it's true that Chris says NK was in a cult and carries crystals with her everywhere. Oh, we just covered this. I just released a video. Did NK possess Chris with her magic? So there is a order of which cult that she's supposed to have been in that thinks that anything you do for your pleasure is supposed to be okay. She doesn't think he was in love with NK, but rather he was infatuated with her. Perhaps most interesting part of the whole interview to me is that she said she doesn't think Chris is protecting NK and that he may even be afraid of her. Shannon believes he's shielding someone else, but not NK or himself, out of fear of something unknown to her. Now, keep in mind, Jamie is on this panel, but it sounds like this is all things that Shannon is saying, but they're not saying Jamie is like refuting any of it either. She said that Chris told her that NK would disappear when they went on hikes. She would wander off for an hour at a time when they went hiking in SDNM. And one other time, he said that when they were camping in SDNM, he woke up in the middle of the night and she was gone and back by morning. Chris says it is correct that NK would give him some strange drink, but Shannon doesn't recall what was in them. She says Chris didn't know about all the calls NK would make to Jim before and after she would talk to him. He also doesn't know why she would Google him and Shanann before they met. Chris said NK was case full of crystals at her home, and that she and her friends that would do dark, weird things. She said that Chris is aware of speculation about NK being pregnant and is curious about it himself, but doesn't know anything about it for sure. Shannon got strangely cagey at this point in the interview. It makes me think she knows more about this, but won't talk about it. Another interesting part of the interview was the discussion of the plea deal. Apparently, there was DNA under the fingers of Shanann and the girls that was never tested. As part of this plea deal, the state said they would destroy the DNA in 1 year. Apparently, they are still holding on to his cell phone, but want to destroy the DNA, which confuses Shannon. She said that Chris did try to stop that legally once he started realizing that he wasn't remembering things totally solid. Oh, of course he said this. And they denied it. His defense attorneys are not responding to him at all, and he hasn't gotten his files that he requested. Now, keep in mind, this was, I think, 5 years ago that this interview was done. With respect to the fingernail DNA evidence, she brings up that Chris has no scratches on him, but NK was wearing a long sleeve sweatshirt and long pants to her interview in August, and Shannon has been told by others that it is not common for NK to wear a sweatshirt and long pants like that. I mean, No, look what she was wearing at the sand dunes when she could have been whipped by sand. She had her short shorts on and her little tank tops. She said his family believes he will tell the truth after he gets his head clear and straight. Well, I mean, it's 5 years later. They think trauma caused him to block out the truth and have the hallucinations talked about in Cato's book. He said his mind was like mush. She strongly believes he was not using drugs despite the talk of oxy and so on. And then they went on to say that Shannon seems credible. Doesn't really say a whole lot of what Jamie said, though. But Jamie was on the panel, and it doesn't seem like she refuted. What do you guys think? Yes, please share, like, and subscribe. You believe it? Now, this is all over on Reddit. This is all alleged for entertainment and educational purposes only. My research. Urge you to go out there and do your own. And I'm not asking you to think how I think. I desperately want you to think however you want to think. I could believe that CW is afraid of NK. I could see that too. Could totally see that. Is that another Dragonfly membership? Oh, I think it might be time to talk about the Dragonflies. Okay. So the Dragonfly is the membership program over on YouTube. Here, I have something for you. Let me show you a little something. If you're not subscribed, why are you not subscribed? I would really, really, really love to have you as a power subscriber. If you really like my content, be sure to become a Dragonfly, and that's our membership, and it's $2.99 a month. I release all my videos early. We have special emojis over in the chat room. I kind of share things ahead of time with my Dragonflies, and I go live sometimes just for the Dragonflies. It's a way that I can support you guys and give you more content, and it's a way for you to support our channel. It's $2.99 a month, and I would love to have you. And there is the link if you are interested. Thank you so much, Laura Lynn, for donating those Dragonfly memberships. Your support means everything to me, and I love you very, very much. Okay, so let me get back to my screen. There was somebody that asked over on Reddit, like, did you know about these? Did you know these two people? Did you know either Chris Watts or Shanann Watts or their families in the past? And this one person posted, I'm not vouching for their credibility, but someone posted recollections about Chris in school. We're going to take a look at that in a minute. There was a post about Kessinger on another subreddit, and someone else claimed to have known Kessinger's sister and mother on What's Off Topic. Another poster said that they had seen Shanann and the girls around the neighborhood, but hadn't interacted with them. There was a Redditor who claimed to be a verified NK associate. So there were people that knew Chris Watts and his sister, and this person says, Jamie Williams, Chris's sister. I've been thinking about this for a little while, but does anyone else think that Jamie gave Chris the oxy? Now, this comes up quite a bit. In my research, it's come up quite a bit. She literally works at a hospital, so it's very possible that she has close connections to patients that may be prescribed or it may just be easy for her to get her hands on. No, I don't think she did. I think if he got it from when Shanann had her back surgery or he got it from NK. Uh, so this person brings it up, and they say, oh, and Cindy's ex-best friend, Kathleen, said CW tried to poison Shanann while she was in Arizona. Her Thrive pills are the kind you can pull apart, empty, then refill with something else, then put them back together. He did that to her pills before she left. It's been reported by everyone that was there that she was sick the entire time. It's the main reason she made the OBGYN appointment for Monday, and the reason NA was so concerned for her. So in a way, CW is the reason NA showed up so fast and demanded a wellness check. He poisoned her and made her sick. This is all alleged. All weekend. It wasn't to cause miscarriage either. Kathleen said he was trying to unalive her and make it look like an accident. So then there's that rabbit hole that people started going down. It is a good point that Chris Watts saying that he would never divulge where he got the medications because he was going to take it to his grave. And that would be somebody he would want to take something to his grave for, I would imagine, his sister. But I still don't think she did it. I think her job would be too important for her, working at a hospital, to do something like that as a respiratory therapist. But I always want to believe the best in people. Jamie Watts Williams' job connection to Nutgate. So now here's another connection with her job to Nutgate. Am I the only one that finds it strange that Jamie is a respiratory therapist? She works with patients in home care, so she travels to give them medicine or treatment, but she disregarded the allergies. You can have a nut tree allergy to only one tree nut. Is that you can have a nut true allergy to only one tree nut? Nonetheless, why risk it? You can only be allergic to one and not the other. It's weird. Why not believe the physician that prescribed the EpiPen? Jamie's husband has worked hard getting his job. He is a prison success story, and she risked that reputation. How would it look if there was a serious reaction? I think it looks foolish for her to write the book with her mother denying illness and allergies while being in the healthcare industry. Now, it's never been proven that they actually wrote the book. There was a book that was, I think was it 4 chapters was released, and they've never claimed that they actually wrote the book. But I did see over on True Crime Rocket Science, they had a guest post, and they were stating that Jamie was not present during Nutgate. So we've got someone saying, why wasn't she taking care of the baby, knowing what she knew? And then now we're going to look at this person saying she wasn't even there during Nutgate. You think they're SW's pills? I do too. I don't think they were Jamie's. So a friend of the Watts family has reached out to Crime Rocket to publish the following guest post. The statement below has been edited or redacted in any way. It has come to the attention of the Watts family that portions of early materials and sketches from a book Kathleen McKenna Hewson is working on with them have been passed around in social media platforms before the first word of the eventual book has ever been laid down. The Watts family is shocked and appalled that this has happened. This has been made possible because it is Miss Houston's practice to write on a continuum with her subjects who are encouraged to take part in molding her finished product. She has to capture their voices accurately and to try to say what they would say. To Miss Houston, what she is writing isn't a story at all. What she wants to reflect at best she can is the reality of her subjects' lives. Luckily, her material and sketches themselves haven't been leaked, only a skewed version of what she is trying to achieve based on assumptions she has played no part in informing. This leak came as a surprise to the Watts family, as what was released in some parts of social media. So I guess it was leaked from the Watts family. Reddit is an extremely large and well informed network. So the fact that this portion has been leaked on a platform that big comes not without its interest, but it has certainly taken the Watts family by surprise, as sometimes media interests run ahead of the family's wishes. Uh, we all love a good true crime story, but at the end of the day, we must remember that it's not a crime story to those who suffer from the crime. It's their daily reality. So we should never forget the victims who find themselves repeatedly affected by those who seek to rewrite the truth. They are living in agonizing detail hour by hour. They are not participating in a tacky made for TV reality show. They are living their actual lives and having to come to terms slowly and painfully with a sledgehammer that hit them the day the crime went down. So that's interesting, because that's what Gypsy Rose is participating in, a tacky made for TV reality series. And are they now associating with somebody who does that? There's been so many misconceptions about the events leading up to the Schmurders. For instance, Jamie was not present during the visit on the afternoon of July 8th, 2018, where it was been said that she was placing a bowl of nuts in reach of Cece and Bella that very afternoon. On the contrary, Jamie dropped off her children at her parents' home with Cindy, Shanann, and the girls that morning between 10 a.m. and 11 a.m. in order to tend to a work emergency. She then left immediately to get to her patient. She never returned to the Watts residence that day. This is just one of many misconceptions out there on social media, continuously bringing hatred and shame upon anyone other than Chris Watts himself. Yes. I always want to hammer it home. I don't think these family people should have shame in the way that, say, Chris Watts or Gypsy Rose should have shame. They are the ones that I point my crooked little finger at and say, shame, shame. You unalived people. You plotted. You are shameful. Okay, so the guest post. Let's talk about Chris's first attempt on his life. Do you guys want to look at this? Do you want to look at the guest post, or do you want to make this an entire live in itself? I don't know. What time is it? Let me look at what time we're working with. Well, let's try to pick out the parts where he is talking about with his sister, because this is a video, a live about he and his sister. So and at the end, one last thing. Why did Chris want Jamie to hear the story of his first attempted schmurder? And he said, I think I can answer. They said, I think I can answer that one. He hates his mother. She dearly loves her daughter. And what hurts Jamie hurts her. And besides, so he wanted to tell Jamie the story because Jamie and Cindy have a very close relationship. And so what would hurt Cindy would hurt Jamie, and what would hurt Jamie would hurt Cindy. So is that what they're saying? Chris had a book coming out, one just filled with more grotesque stories, and he thought it might be entertaining to let his sister, the happy one, the non-murderous one, the one his mother likes best, to have a preview to disturb her peace, to make her shame deeper, even to try to implicate her in his hideous crime. She now knows what I tried to do last August, the first time I tried to unalive Shanann. Will she tell? Jamie has never wanted any part of Chris's secrets. She hasn't trusted or felt close to him since childhood, and Chris remains every bit as dangerous as he ever was. He comes up with one story, then the next story, and then the next story, all mutually contradictory. That what he did was everyone else's fault. True. Well, at least he cannot implicate Jamie in his first attempt on Shanann's life. She hasn't seen either of them forever. And Chris and Shanann's house was already Oxycontin heaven. Is the very definition of redundancy. Also, with the Oxycontin, it was pointed out that the first night that they arrived in North Carolina was when Shanann started getting sick, and he hadn't even seen his sister yet. So, I mean, how could she have done it? So there's that, right? Also, on Reddit, there was this post. Now, I think like there's a fight within family, when the war keeps going round and round and round. It's, to me, there was two sides to the story. They were both dancing the dance. I think Jamie was trying to do things to annoy Shanann, and I think Shanann was trying to do things to annoy Jamie. This person says, well. She said so many horrible things about her husband's family. So this person is obviously taking the Watts' family side. She manipulated and controlled the narrative in order to create a rift between Chris and his support system. Then she died and left a legacy of hate for these people. Shanann Watts was an abusive narcissist. So the whole point of this is to show that Jamie wasn't a horrible person, that in fact she supported Shanann and she became one of Shanann's team in her Lavelle Thrive thing. This says, I'm so excited to officially welcome my amazing sister-in-law, Jamie Watts Williams, to our Lavelle family. I'm so excited to have you on this journey with me. You're an awesome, down-to-earth person with the love to help others. I'm so excited for you. So, I mean, she had her on her team. She was a team player. Then there is the constant question about the leaked prison interview that Jamie and Chris had. Like, does anyone know how the video of the conversation? Do you guys remember the video? Oops. Hold on. Where is it? It's the video of when Jamie went to prison to visit. The video's not available. Hold on. I keep clicking on it and it's not available. But it's the video where she's sitting there talking to him, and they're wondering, like, how did we even get that? Because there is no releasing of that. You can't do a FOIA request on it. This person says, that's an excellent question. I don't know the answer, but if it wasn't leaked by authorities, someone likely did a FOIA request, and it seems that the FOIA wouldn't do. So how was it leaked? And they all came to the conclusion that Jamie leaked it. So if Jamie doesn't want, if Jamie doesn't want to be involved with anything, why is she leaking the prison video, and why is she going up on live panels? I don't understand. Hi, Shorty Pie. Everyone forgets CW left home after high school, moved 3 hours from home. 7 to 8 hours later, he hooked up. 7 to 8 hours. 7 to 8 years later, he hooked up with Shanann. Yeah, I don't think Jamie really wants a part of Chris. Like, she never went to Colorado to visit. She just never did. I don't think she was very close with Chris. Like, sure, if they were in the same room, she would talk to him. But I think Jamie is the type that would talk to the wall. If she had to. She's just one of those friendly people that can say anything and like just a talker. She got the gift of gab, I think. And there's been stories where Chris and his grandmother would go pick them up, pick a sister up after school, and they would have to wait a long time for her to come out because she was saying goodbye to everybody, and it just took a long time. Over on TikTok,
newly released photo
I saw this.
Oh wow, y'all. So this newly released photo of Chris Watts' family was discovered the other day, I guess, taken recently. Now, it also has the kids of his sister Jamie, and that's her husband back there, as well in the photo that have been edited out for privacy purposes. But yeah, it looks like the family is, back and, happy. And according to what I've looked into, Chris Watts is still being visited by them. He is in a different state than they are. I believe they're in North Carolina and he is in Wisconsin. So they've been, seeing him when they came.
They went and visited him in 2024. So here is the article that I found. Oh, and here's another photo that I found of Jamie and her husband. And this is the article, Chris Watts' Childhood Shaping a Unaliver. What shaped Chris Watts into the man he became? How did his early experiences influence his later actions? In this article, we explore Chris Watts' childhood and family background as detailed in Lena Dahali's book, My Daddy is a Hero. So a glimpse into his childhood. When you think of Chris Watts, you might immediately recall the tragic events that made him infamous, but to understand the man behind the headlines, it's important to look back at his early years. So he had a seemingly normal upbringing. Chris Watts was born on May 16th, 1985 in Spring Lake, North Carolina. At first glance, his childhood seemed unremarkable. He grew up in a typical family environment with parents Ronnie and Cindy and a sister named Jamie. As a child, isn't it interesting too in that book that we talked about that got leaked that they changed Jamie's name in the book? I always wondered why they did that. Now I know that it's probably because Jamie was helping write the book and she didn't want her name in it, probably. Chris Watts, and that's another thing that Chris Watts did for his family. He has forever made them part of the public eye, part of this true crime case, right? As a child, Chris was known for being reserved and, I almost said reversed, reserved and introverted. He often struggled with social interactions, preferring to keep to himself, while sister Jamie was the social butterfly of the family. Chris was content being the quiet counterpart, or was he? Was he jealous of Jamie? Chris prioritized his studies and sports over socializing. He rarely dated. Family dynamics. Chris' relationship with his father, Ronnie, was strong. He looked up to Ronnie as a hero and confidant. In contrast, Chris's relationship with his mother, Cindy, was notably distant. The dynamic between the family would play a role in shaping Chris's emotional development. He was a he had a people pleaser persona from an early age. But it came at a cost. Chris often avoided conflicts and disputes, preferring to let others take control. The trait would later manifest in relationships. And then there's emotional suppression. Chris's father, unemotional manner, had a significant impact on him. It fostered a belief that he too should restrain his emotions. While incarcerated, Chris revealed that this habit of suppressing his emotions has significantly influenced the development of his persona. I can see that when parents suppress their emotions, but I mean, not enough to say, like, yeah, it made him a psychopath murderer. He attempted to always he admitted to always feeling tense and hiding his true self when around Shanann. And did he feel that way around his mother too? He was the rain man at work. He had weight fluctuations and eating habits throughout his life, including his time with Shanann. Chris experienced fluctuations in his body weight. He was often compared to a garbage disposal due to his eating habits. However, unlike many who struggle with weight issues, Chris never held on to feelings of bitterness or envy about his body image. The facade began to crack. Chris admitted to always feeling tense and concealing his authentic personality, and then the seeds of a future tragedy. So that is what we have on Chris Watts. Let's move on to Gypsy Rose and her relationship with her stepmother. Now, this is People magazine, so keep in mind that this is the Gypsy's narrative. This is the narrative she wants out, so we're going to have to kind of pick apart it a little bit. But this is all about Gypsy Rose Blanchard's relationship with her stepmother, Kristy Blanchard. Gypsy Rose Blanchard has a very close relationship, she says, with her stepmother, Christy. After divorcing Gypsy's mom, Dee Dee Blanchard, Gypsy's dad, Rod Blanchard, married Christy, with whom he shares 2 children. Both Rod and Christy maintained a close relationship with Gypsy during her early years, despite the fact that Dee Dee, they had a weird relationship, didn't they? Because they worked, Christy worked with Dee Dee, and then I think when they met, Rod was with Christy, but then broke up with Christy, then went with Dee Dee, and Dee Dee got pregnant, but then he went back to Christy, and oh, geez, it was a lot. Gypsy was a victim. No, I'm not going to read that. Following Dee Dee's murder in June 2015, both Rod and Christy have shown their support for Gypsy, but a lot of people say that the support comes due to the monetary gain that Gypsy has brought them. Gypsy started dating Rod when Gypsy was 6 months old. Oh, so I was wrong. She started dating after they broke up. She appeared in Mommy, Dead, and Dearest alongside her husband Rod. They weren't happy with Hulu's act, but I think now they're happy with it because it follows their narrative. So they don't say as many bad things about the act as they used to. Speaking about her stepmother, Gypsy calls Christy the mom she always wanted to have. Speaking about her stepmother's continued support in her Lifetime docuseries, Gypsy calls Christy the mom that I always wanted to have, adding that she can't imagine life without her. Gypsy has been very open to Christy about her past struggles. Christy attended Gypsy's parole hearing. Christy told Gypsy she would always love her when she went to prison. Christy didn't want Gypsy to get married to Ryan at first and meddled in that whole thing. And I thought we would look at one of Christy's few interviews that she gave to the big time media. We're going to look at the one that she did with News Nation Banfield. So guys, be sure to give this live a thumbs up. Helps us go out into the algorithm. Let me see what you guys are saying. It's been said they really don't get along now. Yeah, I've heard that they really don't. And I think as soon as Gypsy's off of parole, that which one's pretty? His sister? Yeah, his sister's pretty. I don't think any of these people are unattractive. So, and I'm not somewhat. Okay, I got lost. Here we go. Gypsy Rose Blanchard at peace after prison release. This was an interview that I believe Christy did to make it so that they weren't going to, because Fancy Maselli was set to do an interview with Banfield, and they cut Fancy off and they gave the interview. Kristy said, I'll give you an interview. And they, of course, wanted it from Gypsy's family opposed to Fancy Maselli. So here is the interview.
Gypsy's stepmom, Kristy Blanchard, and I'm so happy to have you on the program again. Thank you for doing this tonight. I'm very excited about the show tomorrow. But I just want to ask how Gypsy's doing. It's been a week now since she's been out.
She's doing really well. She's adjusting. Like you said earlier, she's making Ryan's home her home. I told her, move all his stuff out of the closet, take it over. She is adjusting as well beyond what I expected so quickly. But she said she feels at home and she feels at peace.
What did she not expect? Like, what is she struggling with? I know some inmates, they will get out of prison and they hadn't seen an iPhone before. Like, there's certain little details that kind of shock them. 8 years is a long time, especially growing up as she did in prison. What has been tough for her?
I mean, I think really the toughest thing for her with her phone is New Year's Eve, we were at her house and she's like, somebody keeps calling my phone and I don't know who it is. And I looked at the number and it was her grandmother. It was Rod's mom. And I'm like, well, that's your grandmother. I'm like, why you didn't store it? She's like, I don't know how. So I stored a couple of numbers for her, but she is learning quick. She is learning it real quick. And I really thought she'd have it attached by her hip by now, but she makes a post, she puts it down and she just goes back and does what she wants to do.
So I know that she, got married while she was incarcerated and then was sort of physically able to be with her husband for the first time when she was released. But it is really difficult, for most people when they get married, to go on the honeymoon and be with their new spouse. This had to be especially sort of tough, a real adjustment. And I would guess for both of them. But how has it been for her?
I mean, I was nervous for her, at first because they visited, in prison and they talk on the phone a lot. And that's a form of intimacy right there. And they bonded over that. But I was worried, okay, what's going to happen?
I wonder if Jamie ever talks to Chris Watts about his girlfriends. That's just like something that came, because I know Kristy Blanchard is very involved in Gypsy's relationships. I just wonder if Jamie is involved in anything that Chris Watts does other than like talking to him about the Bible. I wonder if she can even stomach talking to him about anything other than his jailhouse religion.
Get out. We had that talk and she said it was everything she expected it to be. It was wonderful. It was beautiful. They did stay at a hotel the night she got released. Well, the morning that she got released. And she said it was wonderful. I'm not going to talk for her about experiences behind those doors, but she was happy.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. That must have been a nervous time. I mean, I can't imagine sort of meeting your husband physically, really, for the first time after that long relationship apart. So in the documentary, Gypsy says that she reveals things that even the family didn't know. Do you now know? Like, has she at least let on? And were there surprises for you?
There was one surprise when they asked me how did I feel about when Gypsy shot Dee Dee? And I was like, what? They were like, you don't know? I'm like, no, I think I would remember that. And she hadn't told her dad either. So that, it was a BB gun, of course. And I mean, that was pretty shocking. I did know about what her grandfather done to her. She told me, I want to say 1 or 2 years in. And she had asked me not to tell her dad. She wanted to tell him when she was ready. So when she confessed, told him about it, he called me. He's like, why you didn't tell me? I said, she told me not to tell you. So I learned that on camera as well. But he
is telling her stepmother secrets that she's not telling her dad and asking her not to tell her dad things, and Kristy's doing it.
And, the grandfather has put out a reaction to that, saying it's an unusual reaction. I don't know that I've heard this one before, but he denies that he molested Gypsy and said that Gypsy was the one touching him from the age of 4 and that he told her no. Do you have a response to that?
And I think that was an interesting reply, but it also has come out that Gypsy was hypersexual, and that is something that hypersexual kids do. So there's always like, okay, they say one thing, but then there's this other underlying thing, like yes, my mother forced me to have a eating tube. It's because you had failure to thrive. My mother ripped out all my teeth. No, it's because you didn't brush your teeth and your teeth rotted out. So it's always, something.
Does Gypsy have a response to that?
I mean, I'm not going to speak on her behalf on how she feels about it, but I think it's really messed up.
It is really messed up. Either way, it's really messed up. If she's lying about it, it's really messed up. And if he did it to her, it's really messed up. And it's really messed up that we're questioning it. Like, she's told so many lies that I don't know. I've never questioned. Well, I mean, no, not until I started doing YouTube. I never questioned somebody that said they were abused. But now I am seeing that people do lie about such things, which is shocking.
I can't even imagine.
Yes.
It's gross. It is. I mean, yes, he denies it. She swears it's the truth. I mean, what are we going to do?
Yeah.
There's
So
really
I think she says it perfectly there. What we going to do? I mean, what are the families going to do when they've got this kind of nonsense coming at them? I mean, I am so grateful that it's not that kind of stuff isn't coming at me, because that would be just a little bit too much for me to handle. And I think it would be a little too much for most of us to handle. And so the more I cover the cases, the more grace that I tend to give the families, not the schmurderers themselves. I have none for Chris. I think Gypsy should be back in prison, or should have never gotten out. And yeah. So I forgot. I have one more thing that's completely unrelated, but it's been sitting up here on my desktop for a long time. I wanted to show it. I like to talk about the Nicole Kessinger aspect, which is the mistress in the Watts case. And we did a live where there's some people that have found Nicole Kessinger has gone in hiding, the mistress, and there's some people that thought they had found her. And one of the people that was found was not actually her, but this was her response to being found and being mistaken for Nicole Kessinger. And I just thought I would give you a little bonus NK content tonight.
Hate Amber Fry, just like Nicole.
Hold on. I don't know how. There. Okay. And this is from, this is over on Facebook, but this is from Plunder.
Actually, this is Rosemarie Gee. She writes or says, people keep telling me I look like Nicole Kessinger, probably because they want me to drink a tall glass.
This wasn't somebody that we showed, but this is one of the Kessinger lookalikes.
Glass of bleach, but just for funsies, here's my impression of her. She throws on her glasses and Googles, did people hate Amber Fry just like Nicole Kessinger did? I think I'm good, says Rosemarie. She's a comedian on TikTok. The link is below. Most likely to start a revolution and then say the wrong thing. So she also writes, hopefully I'm hotter, and she spells Nicole Kessinger's first name wrong, as most people do, but she hashtags it comedy Chris Watts for your page. Give her a look and a follow below. It's kind of interesting. I do think in that particular TikTok, she looks like Nicole Kessinger.
She looks just like her, in my opinion.
Even putting on her glasses, the shape of her forehead, the length of her hair. They kind of, if people are already telling her out of the blue, I'm not sure if she works in a restaurant or what, if people are coming up to her and saying, hey, are you Nicole Kessinger, or you look like Nicole Kessinger?
She's
I
much
don't know if they're
thinner
telling
than
her that
Nicole.
in real life or if they're saying that to her on TikTok only. In real life would be more dangerous. To me, it lets you know how pervasive this Watts case is. And for those who don't know, some people were asking on TikTok, who's Amber Fry? Well, she's the woman who unwittingly became Scott Peterson's mistress. Scott Peterson did away with his beautiful wife, Lacey Peterson, and their unborn son, Connor. And Amber Fry, she didn't know she was the mistress of Scott Peterson because Scott had told her, he lied to her and said his wife was gone, and she ended up helping the police. She became a hero of sorts in some people's eyes. I'm thinking to myself, we better keep Chris Watts away from Rosemarie Gee if he thinks, oh, she does favor Nicole Kessinger. But on a serious note, this TikTok video reminded me of the notion of just how well known the Watts case is and how well known Nicole Kessinger is. If folks are asking, this random woman and telling her, wow, you really look like Nicole Kessinger, it means Nicole Kessinger is very well known.
It does mean that, and it means that she probably still needs to stay in hiding. And here's the TikTok.
I look like Nicole Kessinger, probably because they want me to drink a tall glass of bleach, but just for funsies, here's my impression of her. Did people hate Amber Fray? I think I'm good. People keep telling me I look like Nicole Kessinger, probably because they want me to drink a tall glass of bleach, but just for funsies, here's my impression of her. Did people hate Amber Fray? I think I'm good.
Okay, so that is a TikTok of one of the NK lookalikes. What do you guys? Sorry about that, you guys. That was TikTok. Still wanted to have something to say. All right, guys, that's all I have for tonight. What do you guys think about all that? Do you think that Jamie Watts and Kristy Blanchard are becoming BFFs in trauma? Do you think they are talking about their murderous loved ones? I think that it would make sense because I think Gypsy Rose doesn't see herself as a murderer. And so it would make sense that the people that support her in the family, Christy and Rod, they probably don't see her as a murderer. Jamie and Cindy and Ronnie always said that Chris needed to fight because, he didn't do it. So maybe they still don't see him as a murderer. So they're coming together and like we're being wrongfully talked about because of our loved ones, what they did and not us, and they didn't even do it. Or are they just coming together because they have something in common? Or is it just all didn't happen? Although it did happen, the live did happen. I just can't find any proof of it. But people are saying that it did happen and that it's privated. So they were on a live panel together. They do know of each other. But other than that, I don't know. Okay, guys, thanks for being in here. The bestie part, yeah. Yeah, I think I am reaching with the bestie. I think I'm reaching with the bestie part. They probably know each other. Okay, guys, I'm going to go. Thank you for being here. If nobody's told you this today, and even if they have, I'm still going to tell you this. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much, Laura Lynn, for donating the Dragonfly membership. Thank you everyone for being here. I'm going to try to call off some names here. Jody, thank you. Valerie, Stacia, Laura Lynn, Maribel, Shorty Pie, F. Lee, and if I missed anyone, I'm so sorry. Denise, I see you. If I missed you guys, I'm sorry. I'm trying to scroll through it really quick. Oh, Phaedra. Yeah. So Bobby and Gizmo. I think I got you all, but if I didn't, I'm so sorry. If nobody's told you this today, and even if they have, I'm still going to tell you this. I love you guys so, so much. And I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.
Carefully strumming this old guitar, words rolling out into the fire. Never asked why my heart burned blue. Here in the haze where you inspire me. Here in the darkness I hear my cue. Time to find some solitude. Here where my soul bleeds openly, deep in the heart of sin and you. Here in the blue, I'm falling deep into you.